Hey guys.
Hi.
Hey. How's it going?
Oh, pretty good.
So nice to see you guys. I love our meetings. I always look forward to them. And we're in the home stretch. We have basically three, including this one. So we have the next one in 2 weeks. Farron is going to do a manifesting workshop for us. And then our last one, I think it's March 30th. That's our closing meeting, our closing call.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, so we have 1 month left, and I'll just do a brief overview of the lessons. The last piece, the last part is really stabilizing our growth, and that's okay. So the lessons are: build your confidence, break free from self-sabotage, master your body habits, and the last one is make every day a masterpiece. So lots of great stuff to come. And I sent the email today. I don't know if you guys saw it already, but basically to get access to the last meeting, you need to send me a weekly report. And hopefully you've been doing, or at least I know some of you said that it's not consistent yet, but you're starting the weekly review. This is so important. So airplanes are off course 90% of the time. And basically an entire flight is course correcting. And that's really what the weekly review is. Taking the time to look back on the week, to see our wins, our losses, our lessons learned. What do I need to fix? What do I need to change moving forward? What am I grateful for? All these questions that we ask in that weekly review really allows us to have a lot of clarity for how do we need to course correct. So the question is, and this is actually taken from the book Willpower Doesn't Work, and I want that to be our last book. I know I said it's daring greatly, but it's so I'm taking a course with the author right now, and I have access to the audiobook and the PDF. So I can send that to you. So you guys don't have to buy it. And you can either listen or you can read the PDF. And I think it's a really just important, really great information, important stuff for us to be reading, for us to really, really manifest our goals and make things happen and live the life that we know we can. The questions are, because he talks about that, the whole airplane being off course 90% of the time. He says, how are you piloting your life? What feedback are you receiving to correct your course? How often do you check your guidance system? Do you even have a guidance system? So our guidance system is basically our weekly review and our scorecard. Where is the destination? So what's the results? What's the outcome that you want? When are you going to get there? What's the time frame? What's the by when, the due date? Are you currently off course? Like, are you actually moving towards your goals or not? And how long, if you've been off course, how long have you been off course? And then how would you even know if you are the right course? So knowing what the measurables are. So how are you measuring your goals? And then how can you minimize the turbulence and other conditions distracting your path? And this is a big one too, because sometimes it's more a process of elimination than it is of adding things. So it's what's creating drag in your life, what's holding you back. And sometimes it's just simply us. And we talked about this before. We just get in our own way. And this is what the big leap, a big part of what the big leap is all about, is the upper limit problem and how we basically sabotage when things are going well because we're not used to that. And then we bring things back down to what we're comfortable with. So who's read The Big Leap? Olive?
I read it. This Becca. I don't have my video on right now because I'm in a moving car.
Okay. Okay, you read it. And Stephanie, you said you read it? Did you read? Oh. Oh.
I didn't hear what you said.
Oh, did you read The Big Leap?
I just started it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Haley, did you have a chance to read it?
Yes, I have. I just finished it.
Awesome. Good.
It's amazing. Like I was saying to my husband, I'm like, I feel like this is the only parenting book you need.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's so good.
Like it talks about like parenting in just such a different light compared to parenting books. And I was just saying, like, you know, like who cares if they sleep at night? We care right now, but in the grand scheme of things, I'm not going to spend my time reading books on how to get my kid to sleep at night. What I'm going to spend time doing is being the person that I want to be the model for my kids, right?
Yeah,
like
totally. That's the most important thing with parenting is it's not,
yeah.
Brene Brown talks about that in her books too, is it's like, it's not what you say, it's what you do. Cause that's really what they learn from. You can say whatever, but if you're doing something completely different, then they can see that.
Right. Sorry, yeah, I'm muddling the two books together because I was reading that one too at the same time. So yeah, but yeah, both of them are amazing.
Yeah, they are. Yeah. So yes, I recommend that you guys still read Daring Greatly, maybe just after this course, or you know, if you can do two at a time, awesome. But
I'm sorry. I think I just was getting on the call because Daring Greatly was supposed to happen this month, or did you change?
So I'm changing.
Oh, you're changing it. Okay.
I'm changing it just because I really want us to all read. I almost finished Willpower Doesn't Work. It actually hasn't come out yet. It comes out in like a week. But I'm going to send you guys the PDF and the audiobook because I'm taking a course with the author and I have access to it.
Cool.
So, yeah. So because I think it's got some really important things that we need to know. So yeah, so a lot of things I want to talk about today. And there's a few things on the forum that want to be discussed in the Facebook group. And then also I'd like to leave it a little bit open for what's coming up. And you know, we only have really had opportunities to talk almost once a month, which isn't a whole lot. And I know there's a lot of information between those meetings and a lot of and like assignments. And although this month, hopefully it was a little bit lighter as far as workload, I'm hoping you guys are somewhat caught up. Are you? No. So something I want to say about that is that I know it's like life happens and there's things that are just more important, and that's totally fine. And that's legit. But if this is like a pattern, if this is something, like we have to look at, because I think with the information age that we're in, and it's so easy to kind of get started on certain things or even enroll in certain classes and not really follow through and not really commit to it fully. And sometimes we start out really, gung-ho and motivated, and then we allow life to pull us off course. And this doesn't go only for courses, it goes for our own goals. I mean, has anyone noticed this? Like you set a goal and in the beginning you're really excited about it, and then all of a sudden life happens and you get distracted and you get pulled off course and it becomes an afterthought. Has anyone noticed this?
So I'd actually love to speak to that because so I'm definitely one of the people I'm going to categorize myself as one of the people who has a special circumstance as far as taking the course and just being way off. So I now in hearing you talk about this, I'm like, okay, if I look back, it is definitely a pattern of mine. It can be to like let it trail off, so I'm paying attention to that, and I have full investment in finishing this course. Like with it's weird because there's almost like a theory dedication. Like I know I don't even question. Before I would have had fear and anxiety around the fact that I've in some ways checked out of the course and like I'm never going to come back or it's too overwhelming. But it's like I know that I'm finishing it. When I'm not exactly sure, but I'm walking that edge of also being in this life circumstance that in like partially this course is what got me there. So that's why it's like kind of this twofold thing. I know that's why it's so important to finish the course, because it's the course that got me to make some decisions to change my life completely.
Yeah.
But because of that, my life is at current changing in insane ways. So, you know, I'm kind of like, I think I'm interested to see like, okay, so is the pattern going to change? Like as things are starting to settle and I can take on the course again, like, am I going to finish? You know, I'm like curious, like, is that pattern going to keep going? And I kind of feel like I have a lot of big things that are out of the way. So this week, one of my commitments is to take a look and see like where I'm recommitting basically.
Great.
So anyway, I guess that's kind of like an overall share / ask maybe to make sure, like one of my things is like get on the Facebook group because I'm a big connector and like connect, like go through connect and then get on the course, like go through the coursework and see what it is I can do and what I need to do. So I guess I'm like recommitting and I want you guys to hold me accountable for it maybe.
Awesome. Yeah. Yeah. Reach out. And if there's any specific ways we can help, also ask like in a specific way. Yeah, totally. Awesome. And thank you. Thank you for sharing that. And something that I want to speak to is when you said, I'm wondering if that'll keep going, if that pattern is. And something that's in this book and that Darren Hardy writes about a lot is that our identity, and I've talked about it a lot, is malleable. It's not fixed. So because you've had that pattern in the past does not mean you'll have it in the future if you decide not to.
Right.
And you need to commit to taking different actions. And this whole thing with consistency, and this is the majority of people have this problem where they don't stick to anything. I mean, this is what I hear all the time because with my health coaching, when I talk to people, it's like, that's what they're all, I can't ever stick with anything. I'm never consistent with my, exercise or whatever. And because it's like, we don't have high demand, we don't have high expectations for ourselves. You're not in environments that really foster that high. That's why, it's like surround yourself with people that hold you to a higher standard than you hold yourself, because we don't have often high standards for ourselves. And we let ourselves off the hook too much, and we make excuses and we loophole, and we can find all the reasons in the world why we don't not to follow through with something or to allow ourselves to get distracted. So it's really a discipline. It's like yoga. I mean, yoga is a practice. It is a practice. We have to keep doing it. We never stop doing it. And it is recommitting every single day. And we need structures in place to help us do that. Also, like the environment, like systems where we check in with our goals and we're very clear and we have a way to hold ourselves accountable and score ourselves. I mean, these are all ways that we build in systems that keep us on track, because it's almost like the life naturally will pull us off unless we do something to actually prevent that from happening. Because if left to, what happens on its own, like it's like it just our attention disperses, especially if we have like more of the Vata tendencies where the attention goes all over the place. And we jump from one thing to one thing. Like a Kapha person, they actually have a much easier time sticking with something because like the routine is like more embedded in their constitution. Like they have that sense of regularity. It's like the steadiness of the earth. The earth just keeps turning at the same rate, and it doesn't have that variability that like someone like a Vata has. And Pittas have a little bit, they have that focus, that drive, that that directionality. So Pittas have a little bit of an easier time. So it's also good to know your tendencies, but then realize that we can't hide behind those tendencies, or can't also know that we can change. We can totally change, and we have to commit to changing our behaviors, and then our identity changes, and then we become that person that sticks to things. Shauna. Oh, hold on. I think, okay, go ahead. Okay, there.
Okay, actually, I'm glad that you brought up that topic about Vata and Kapha and Pitta. And I was curious about that because I feels like sometimes, although I'm trying so hard, these tendencies are so strong. And like some days I feel on top of it, and then some days I'm just like, oh, that Vata. I just have to, like, it is such a practice to rein it in, but I really have to have compassion with myself because other than it's hard. I feel like I have to say it is difficult, even more difficult when you are predispositioned to not be able to focus on something. And I found that really difficult my whole life.
Yeah, but look how much you've changed already.
Yeah, and I have, like, incredibly. Like, I am a good example of it. It does work.
And you need to identify with who you're becoming, not who you've been.
Yeah, but the who I've been pops up, like, often.
Yeah, but again, it's like then you reorient. And you're like, blinders on. This is where I'm going.
Well, I think if I could just
go ahead.
I'm sorry, if I could just add to this because I think it's pertinent. And Donna, you'll have to remind me here. But I love in Ayurveda, so Shauna's talking about the basic tendencies of our nature, like what we're made up of. And with Vata, Pitta, and Kapha, there's that Prakriti. So it's like almost like our genetics, like what we are. And then we're like what we're made of, what we came into the world with, but then is it our Viprakriti? I can't remember. Vikriti, thank you. And then that's like where we are now and what we've done to change and manifest.
Vikriti is actually just the imbalance that we have.
Oh, okay. So it's interesting.
Prakriti so maybe is always like we will always be a certain constitution. Like you can't really change your constitution, but the Vikriti is the current imbalance, like what's happening right now. So you can be a Pitta with a Vata imbalance. You can be a Kapha with a Vata imbalance. You can, you can be a different constitution, or you can have a different dosha that's predominant in any point in your life.
Right. That's okay. So that's a little different than what I was thinking of, but I don't know that those things are helpful for me because it kind of maybe, Shauna, it speaks to that. Like we have compassion because it's who we are. Cause I feel like I'm totally feeling you on this one. Cause I'm like, that's a change almost too. Like I have such deep, profound self-love and self-compassion where I'm like, before anxiety and overwhelm and nervousness or I'm not good enough might have come up because I'm like behind in the course, where as I'm like, I know myself so deeply, I'm like, well, this is actually not some unhealthy, it's not some Vikriti imbalance pattern. I'm just moving in the ways actually of Pitta, which is my predominant nature, and working with it quite lovely because I'm really focused in some areas of my life. Like I'm getting SHIT done. But just in these others, I don't know why I spelled it out, but in this other way, that is aligned with the course anyway. Whatever. But I just I feel you.
Yeah. What were you gonna say, Shauna? Did before?
Oh, I don't remember now. I just got lost on that.
Yeah, but I think yes, I think you should have a compassion, and the most important thing is integrity. And this is what really gets to us is when we're living out of integrity. Out of integrity means like when we are not doing what we know we should be doing, and that's all. Like so, whatever your tendency is or not, if your tendency is one thing but then you're doing something that is out of alignment with how you want to show up, then that's what we want to really look at. because we've decided something's important to us. We've decided it's something we really want. We said we're going to work on it and do it, and then we don't. And then that's what really erodes our self-trust and our self-confidence and actually prevents us. Then we get into a habit of like giving up on ourselves or failing, and then we stop setting bigger goals, and then that creates a whole downward spiral where we just stop growing. So the more we can just continuously take that aligned action that is in alignment with what we've decided is important to us. So maybe, as if what's going on with you is really important and you're taking action that is aligned to that, and that means other things go, then there's no problem there because you're in integrity. So I think what is the hardest is when we are out of integrity with ourselves. And that's really, go ahead, Madeline.
Yeah, it's really resonating with me. There's like being out of integrity with myself, and then taking all the strength that I have to come back and stick to my schedule and do the things that I need to do, that I know that I want to do. But I guess it's always this balance. Like so often I don't. And I noticed, just like a little example, last week, like this organization that I'm involved with, I had certain things that I had to get done, and I was up at 6 a.m. and I was doing the work for that organization. It was done by 7 a.m. and I thought, I never show up for myself like that. And it just made me feel really sad. Like, why would I continually let myself down? And that's why I always come back to these upper limit problems. And I feel like I just had to stop talking about the upper limits and just get on it. Like, but it does amaze me how difficult that can be. Well,
when you tell me that, what I hear is you need external accountability. That's all.
I do.
You need to, then that means you build external accountability into your life. So it's instead of beating yourself up with why don't I show up for me? It's because you just haven't created that peace for yourself. It doesn't make you a bad person or whatever. It just means that external accountability works for you. Mm-hmm. So but how do I do that for myself if I'm not really accountable to anyone? Yeah, you do. There's many ways. So what I do, because I need that external accountability, when I say I'm going to do something, or when I decide I'm going to do something, I basically make it public. I'm going to make this course, and now I haven't actually made the course yet, but I'm going to let everyone know that, hey, this course is happening. And that's called a forcing function. And that is in the book, Willpower Doesn't Work. And he talks about, basically, it's there's things that you do to force yourself to do what needs to be done. We need that external, and the whole book, most of it is about the power of our environment and how important it is that, we need other people. We need to surround ourselves with, the right environment that helps support us, because we cannot rely on the whole book is we can't rely on willpower. Yeah. I would have to get people actually registered in that course. Even if I told people about it, I can still back out. But if I got them registered, then I would for sure not let them down. Yeah. I mean, it's ways of making it public and putting it out there and talking about it. And so that you've you've created it in your mind first, and then other people are going to hold you to it. And then you'll just with the thing that you had to, for that other person, now you're going to do the same for yourself, because other people are now counting on you. Right. Yeah. Okay. Thanks. Yeah. That has been my tactic. It's I always put something out there before I create it. I make it public, whether it's workshops or courses or goals. Yeah. And then it's okay, if you don't actually reach it, but you've tried and you've done. But the thing is, it's the point of no return, which I mentioned before. It's when you say you're going to do it, it's you're gonna do it. You're gonna make it happen no matter what. You'll do what it takes. And the thing is, if we have that kind of commitment to something, it will happen.
Mm-hmm.
Shauna. Mm-hmm. Oh wait, hold on. We're both unmuting you at the same time. I won't do it. You do it.
Okay. Yeah, so I just wanted to speak to that too, is because I know I'm a perfectionist. I know that's halted me a lot of my life, is that I never went and did anything because I felt like if I did something, it had to be perfect, and it couldn't couldn't have any bumps or any unfinished, or and I just wanted to be smooth and perfect, and so that stopped me from a lot of projects, and I think that's what stops a lot of people. I'd say. Is that true?
Well, I'm a perfectionist.
Yeah. Okay.
Also,
yeah.
but I think yes, I mean, it's definitely, it's a form of resistance. And again,
then
it's like,
I guess it's a fear of failure too. So it's like, you want to do these things. And I'm actually, I have to say that in the last 2 months, I've pushed myself and done things that I was like scared, SHIT. Less of. I was like, I've done, I've done a couple talks for the therapy. I mentioned that. Mm-hmm. And then
I know. Awesome.
Yeah. And then I did an interview for the permaculture course by myself, for what we want on our land, and like just being put on the spot. And then, I'm going to do a massage in a yin class, which is like, I think there's just like just all these things that I'm just like really want to do. But then what I do, I just wanted to say this, is that I amp myself up. And so, the other one was that I wrote out this big business concept for the 2 businesses that I'm running. And it was due yesterday. So I was like, I get my nervous system goes, and then I'm like, and I find that interesting, because I have all these tools to keep my nervous system down, but it's just it's so genetically in my blood. It feels like it just feels
like the vata in you.
Yeah. Although I do all I can to calm it, I still like when I am going to do something and put myself out there, I just like, my stomach's in my throat. Like
that is normal. Totally normal. Like when you're pushing yourself out of your comfort zone, definitely you'll feel that. And that is, and again, you can just change your matrika and say, I'm excited. I think I shared this with you guys. Instead of saying, I'm scared shitless, I'm excited. And you just change the way you're seeing that. And again, it's like the same physical sensations. It's like fear is excitement without the breath. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
It's just how you choose to, but you can, again, it's like you can harness that and actually direct it in a way that's like giving you energy and giving you that excitement, which allows you to bring that energy to what you're doing.
Yeah. And I guess the more I'm going to be doing that, the more it's going to start to feel just.
Yeah, totally. Exactly. Like anything, it's like you keep doing that scary thing, it's going to be less and less scary. Yeah. And then you'll need to then up level again. Yeah. But that's how you do it. It's like you stabilize at that next level of scary, and then what's the next growing edge after that? And then what's the next growing edge after that? And then that's why your potential is limitless. That's
the thing about Vata, is that you don't plateau. You just keep adding on. Like that's
with everyone. I mean, that's that's not just a Vata thing.
Okay, because I'm like, I did that, but now I'm gonna do this, and now I'm gonna do that, and that's probably why I'm like, okay, I gotta stop, because I'm like a little bit like too many things going on, so I'm gonna pull back.
Yeah, and that's why it's several things there. I think it's really good that you said that you're doing everything for your nervous system, which is why like the foundational habits of the things that we worked on in the first month, and if you did Align and Thrive habits, like you need these habits to stabilize a strong nervous system, because that strong nervous system is absolutely like foundational for being able to keep up leveling yourself, because then you will, like, your nervous system will become all frayed, and you'll burn out, or it's, so we absolutely need the self-care built into our days every single day. And that's, again, it's like that commitment to that, making it a priority. And I was thinking about this also, our exercise, like our physical exercise, our breath body practices strengthen more than our bodies. They really strengthen our ability to, especially, well, if we're pushing ourselves, which we should be. Like, we should always be pushing ourselves appropriately in our breath body practice, like not always just doing the same thing, but continuously getting stronger. And then we can do that. Like, it builds up our confidence, it builds up our capacity, it builds up our nervous system. All that is so, I mean, you see if you look at a lot of successful people out there that are really thriving in many areas of their life, it's like they are in really great shape. Like, that is a priority in their life. They put time and effort into, and energy into that, their exercise, because they know how big of a difference it makes for their focus and for their energy and for just being able to handle more and more and more. And that's the thing. It's like, you're all here to really, like, continue to up level yourself and to grow into the person that you know you're capable of. In order to do that, you need to do the scary things. You can't just keep falling back into old patterns. You've got to get out of your comfort zone. It's absolutely necessary. So get used to it. Like, just get used to it. Do the thing that's all on your calendar that you don't feel like doing. I mean, it really is, there's no secret, there's no shortcut, there's no quick fix, there's no getting around it. You have to do it. And it's like, how do you spend time? It's like, you just do, you get clear on what you want. The clarity is really, really important. That's why we spent 2 months in the beginning just getting clear. And it doesn't end. That clarity, you get more and more, it gets more and more distilled, like what you really want. And that's why it's like, you want to keep having these kind of reflection times where you're building that into your day. You're building it to your week, you're building it into your month, you're building it into each quarter. And, depending on if you're doing it for the year, it's like the length of each session, but you're really taking the time to ask. It's like the questions are really, really important of, what do I really want? And who do I want to become? And where do I want to go with my life? And what's truly important? And to keep asking ourselves these questions. And the more clear we are, and if anyone read Slipstream Time Hacking, that's the other Benjamin Hardy that I sent you guys. He talks about how you can basically, I think I was talking to Becca about this, you can basically shave off years to where you want to go simply by knowing the destination. So a normal person will kind of climb the rungs of the ladder at a very slow rate. It's like being at a regular job, you'll, maybe slowly take on a little bit more responsibility, maybe get paid a little bit more, and just, that's like the norm, right? But if you are really clear of like the end goal, you dive into that environment where people are at that level and they're having that higher conversation and they are requiring you to step up. Like, you basically can just knock off 10 years of someone that would just go like climbing the rungs of the ladder incrementally. And so that's why it's so important that we take this time to really keep asking ourselves these questions of, what do I really want? And then what is like the fastest, most streamlined way? And that's why, like, in that path, we have to keep cutting away the extraneous, which is the hard part, because that's like old identity. It's like the old stuff. It's like the decluttering of not only our stuff, but our lives, and uncommitting to things that, like in the video a month ago or 2 months ago that I posted, it's like we have to uncommit ourselves to the things that we're not excited about. But for me, it's like, you know, there's a loyalty there to certain things. Like for me, it's like certain yoga classes that I've been teaching for years, and I have really, really loyal students, and I feel a sense of loyalty towards them, but it's not really aligned with where I'm going. Like it's maybe a tiny, tiny fraction of it, but it's actually taking away time that I could be like getting to where I want to go faster. So to like actually cut that away is really hard, but so necessary. And so, and you know, sometimes we need to kind of get ourselves ready for that, and it takes some time to like cut away the things that are not helping us get to where we want to go. But again, the more clear we are of where we're going, the more we know what fits and what doesn't. Anyone have any thoughts about that? That's really time bending. And then having integrity with, okay, this is what I want, and this is what I know, what's the next step to get there. And then like when it shows up, having integrity with our calendar, having calendar integrity, where we do the thing that we said we're going to do. And then we build that confidence in ourselves. And then we build these small wins. And then we start to identify as that person. It becomes a little bit more normal. We stabilize at that higher level. We set bigger goals. And then it becomes this whole upward spiraling that happens. Yeah, Shauna. Oh, shoot. Okay.
I'm here.
Yeah, good.
But can you just come live with me for 2 months then?
Well, that's why it's like the power of like being in, you know, the Shakti that's created in these groups is so important. It's like we need that.
Oh no, I'm doing the tasks. Like I am doing my tasks. But like it really resonated when you were saying like the side needs to cut. Doesn't it? So like I really, really get how much extra I put on my plate. You know, I'm eating way too many mashed potatoes when I really should be eating like, I don't know, whatever the good meat or whatever. I was paleo, but yeah, it takes it. Sometimes I don't realize it. And just like the other day I had the opportunity to ski with my friend's daughter, which was like an amazing opportunity. And then I went to go see my other older friend who's 70, and she said, "Oh, that's Shauna. She's always committing to everything." She's out, you know, because I stopped by to say hi to them, and then I had my friend's young girl, and then I'm like, I'm supposed to be writing up like I'm supposed to be filling out an application, or I'm supposed to be writing something, right? Instead of spending time with them. So that's like that I was talking to you about, like the whole time blocking and like not getting caught up in these moments where like this moment was really special, you know, like to like ski with her all day and then go, and we had a hot tub at their condo with my other friend. It was just such a beautiful moment. But in the back of my head, I'm like, oh, I'm supposed to go home and do this paperwork.
Yeah. And that's why time blocking is so important, because you want to have time for that. Like that's absolutely important as well, like to have social connection time. But again, the beauty of time blocking is that when you know there's a time for this and a time for that, when you're in this, you're not thinking about that. You're not thinking, oh, I should be doing that, because it's like, no, I've allocated time for that later. And so I don't have to think about that right now. I can be fully present with what I'm doing.
I feel like March is like all about this for me. Like I feel
right. Yes.
Like I really do, like, because I feel like if I can gain control of this in my life, this time blocking and setting aside time and being very strict with myself, then I just feel like that's the biggest thing, the biggest.
Yeah. Well, if you feel that, then it's probably true. And so it's what you need to do is you need to write down all the activities that you need to do related to your work and your goals. And then you batch them, and like how are these things kind of related? So whether that's, I don't know, I mean, again, it's like, I don't know what your stuff is, but, and then you look at your calendar. I mean, it's like, you got to look at that video, the ideal calendar video, and look at how can I, like, when am I at my best? And for most of us, it's the morning. So first thing in the morning. And again, it's like having that discipline to put first things first. So maybe you wake up, you do your morning routine, and you sit down and and if you focus really well in the morning when you're fresh and you're not distracted and you don't like waste time on email or social media, you get right into it, you can get so much done. And really, it's like I think he talks about this in Willpower Doesn't Work, is that whole myth of like the 8-hour work week is 8-hour work day is just not relevant, because that was the case when we were doing like physical labor. And then now when it's now all like mental labor, our brains just aren't optimal for that long. Like our brains can be really at their peak for about 4 hours, and that's about it. So if you can use the time when you are at your best, and like with your mental energy and focus and clarity, ideally first thing before you get have any kind of distractions, imagine that. Like if you could focus from like 7 to 8, 9, 10, 11 or whatever every day, and then you had the rest of the day to go see your friends and go connect in the way that also brings you a lot of joy, or do the other things, and in the afternoon is the best time, because that's Vata time, and Vata is all about the connections. And so that is, you never want to schedule that stuff in the morning, because the morning is really the best time to get work done. That's like kapha time. That's like, get it done.
That's when the powder is on the ski hill, though.
Priorities. And Andrea.
This is a real frustration for me, because I have a job. I'm a kindergarten teacher, and I am best in the morning. I'm a lark. I struggle. I'm dead at night. I'm useless at night.
We all are.
And
nobody should work at night. Nobody.
It's terrible. Like I can fit in my 5 to 5:30 and try to have a morning routine, but boom, I'm at work at 7:20 in the morning. I'm leaving at 11:30, picking up my little boy, making him lunch. I've got laundry, I've got all that crap to do. And then it's like, boom, go pick up the other child. And then it's dinner and nighttime events. I feel like I just have to give up on being creative, unless the creativity comes into my teaching job right now, which it does. But I cannot write in the afternoon. I just can't make it happen.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do. I guess it's just maybe I have to wait till my youngest.
Well, use that 30 minutes in the morning, honestly.
Like give up the meditation and the movement and
the thing is, like, you have to just ask yourself what's most important. And then you can, for me, it's like, what can I do when there's kids in the mix? When there's kids in the mix, like now.
Okay, right when you said, you have to ask yourself what's most important.
Yeah.
Cue.
Yeah. No, but like things like meditation you can't do with kids. But for me, I've always, because I have the constraints of kids.
Yeah.
And I can't.
You 2 boys too.
Yeah. And we talked about this before. Like I do things that I can do with them when they're around, and I do things that I can't do with them when they're not around. So maybe you exercise in the morning with them or whatever, and they're around, and you just do your thing, and it's not going to be ideal. They'll probably climb over you and want to work out with you, as mine do.
Sorry. Oh my goodness. Sorry.
Okay.
Welcome to my life.
I understand.
Okay, quick. I'm sorry, guys. A second. Sorry. I want to finish this. Good night. Okay. Okay. Sorry. I'm actually talking right now on the floor. So, I mean, maybe that's it. Or maybe I just kind of like, whenever I find a moment on the weekend, I was trying so hard, because Sunday mornings I thought, okay, weekend, I can get up early. I don't have work. And then I can try to be a little creative. But then right now I want to have time to concentrate on the course. And I'm finding I cannot get myself to watch the webinars in the afternoon. It's terrible. I just can't seem to. So I'm kind of in this crux where I seem to have very limited time and I want to spend it on the course, but then the course is about me trying to be more creative and on top of things. So I don't know if anyone else is going through that, but yeah.
So again, it's on the weekends, maybe you ask for, you ask your husband for some help where I'd like this chunk of time for myself. Maybe you need to go to go at somewhere else, like leave the house.
That's what I do.
Yeah. I mean, I have to. And it's actually really, this is another thing he talks about in Willpower Doesn't Work, is like getting out of your environment, like your normal environment is actually really good for creativity and focus. And it's like a lot of writers would do that. They would like go and, write in different places and like seclude themselves from their family. And because, I mean, it's it's just too frustrating to try to do things when there's like things that you need to be able to focus on. So when they're around, when they're around, it's like what you do, what you can, like, again, it's like, yes, that's the time to do laundry. That's the time to do groceries. Like that's the time to clean the house. When you have limited time, it's just, that's how it goes.
Yeah.
And then you then you find ways of asking for that extra time, whether it's like from your husband or you find another way to get the kids taken care of, so that you can have that time for yourself, because you need that.
Yeah. And I know we talked about this. I'm kind of flustered because I don't know if everyone else knows, but I'm going for surgery on April 4th and I finally decided to do that. So it's 6 weeks off and I kind of feel just like I'm in this crazy transition right now. So part of me is debating, do I kind of just let go of music, focus on just enjoying the creativity in my teaching and my health? Like I feel, if anyone's wondering, I'm like all over the place with my goals right now because of making this decision is kind of thrown me for a loop, or, I'm just trying to find my footing right now. So I don't know, maybe I need to let go of that. And like you and I were saying today, maybe work on music when I'm bedridden. Maybe that's a good idea.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But again, it's like focus times, really focus. So if it is like 5 to 5:30, I mean, is that the only time you have, 5 to 5:30? That's for like meditation, exercise, everything?
Maybe 5 to 5:35. My 5:40 if I push it.
So maybe you just let that, okay, maybe that's just, I mean, I would say personally, it's probably more important for you to do the meditation and exercise and then
I think I'm better
let go of the expectation so that you're not feeling like a failure every single day.
I'm starting to. I mean, if I seemed like I was distant for a while, I was just trying to figure out what the heck, what can I really do right now? But I can see that this could be a next, oh my goodness, what's it called? Not a quadrant. It's the next quarter goal.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Definitely.
Thanks for listening.
Yeah, but I would personally get the chunk on the weekend where you can focus, where you can you have the time, you have the space, and get in a place where you have no distractions.
Yeah, definitely. That's my problem, is I'm not getting myself out of the house. And I'm stubborn and I think I can stay here and do it. I don't know why I think that, but I don't learn very quickly.
Tell your husband when you get off the phone.
Yeah.
Again, this is like external accountability. Say, hey, on Saturday or on Sunday, I'm going to go to a coffee shop from this time to this time. Is that okay? Like,
yeah.
Does that work? I need that for myself, or to catch up on my course that I've invested in and the goals that I really, are important to me. Like,
I'm sure if I bartered with him and said he could sleep in or something.
Yeah, exactly. You guys have to figure it out. But do it. Like, do it. And because it's not your, it's not your pattern yet, and you're going to maybe forget about it. And then as you move further away from this conversation, it won't be as potent. So that's why it's so important to take action right away when there is something that somewhere you want to change. It's like, or something that you want to do. You have to take some sort of action right away.
Okay. I will do this. Thank you.
You will.
Anyone else? Questions, comments, challenges? I want to speak to the Madeline you posted on the forum, overcoming your upper limit. So do you remember what he says in the book, How? how to?
No, I actually have to go back and reread. Yeah.
Okay. So he basically says, I actually have it, the quote right here. The art of getting beyond our upper limit problem has a lot to do with creating space within us to feel and appreciate good natural feelings. By natural, I mean good feelings that are not induced by alcohol, sugar, and other short-term fixes. Letting you savor natural feelings is a direct way to transcend your upper limit problem. By extending your ability to feel positive feelings, you expand your tolerance for things going well in your life. What does that mean to you?
That's really interesting. So rather than, pushing through the upper limits, it's almost like he's saying the opposite, like allow space. Is that what I'm hearing? And allow positive emotions in your life and expanding those.
Yeah. So what he talks about in the book, and he basically starts the book with asking the question, are you willing to feel good all the time?
Oh, right.
Remember that? Which is kind of like,
yes.
I'm still not sure how I feel about that statement, because I don't believe we can feel good all the time. I don't think that's normal. But
Right.
Are you willing to increase the amount of time you feel good? And it's like kind of a silly question, like who wouldn't say yes? But but the thing is,
yeah, even entertaining that possibility opens the imagination. Like, are you willing to are you willing to imagine feeling good all the time?
Yeah.
I mean, for most people, it's kind of beyond the imagination.
And that's why it's like a simple ways we can build in practices to do that is through the everyday, the mini reflection of what went well today. And when you reflect on it, really allow it to sink in, and it's like you expand your ability to feel good in those little moments of really soaking in that goodness and savoring the good feelings that come about by you thinking about what went well today, and really sit in that and feel it and be it, and again, as much as you can. So when you do notice that things are going on, he says in the book, we often will deflect, and often if someone will give us a compliment, we'll be like, oh no, it was just, and we'll make some excuse for why it went well, oh, that wasn't me, my mom was always horrible. She's the worst at taking compliments, and she would be like, no, I'm not, or no, it's not, and and so and I learned how to do that, but then I unlearned that, and I learned how to say thank you, but it's really when good things happen, or when someone gives you a compliment, or when you succeed, or you reach a goal, or whatever it is, you really you expand at that higher level. And I can't remember where I read this, but so you can actually say that's just like me. That's just like me. This is me. This is not a weird thing that this went well. This is me. I did it. I made it happen. So, because he says that the problem, the whole upper limit problem happens is when things are going well, we'll do something to actually bring ourselves back to normal, to status quo. So we will stop the flow of goodness coming into our lives by, whether it's he says, these are the ways that we do it. We worry, we criticize, or we blame, we deflect, we squabble, we'll start fights with our our partners, or with people that we can pick fights with. He says, well, getting sick and getting hurt, sometimes we feel like we have no control over that, but then when we really look at it, sometimes we'll be clumsy, or we'll actually not take care of ourselves. So even just notice ways that all of a sudden things are going well, and you might start to do something, maybe let go of a habit, a good habit. And that's basically an upper limit problem, where it's oh, things are going well, let me make sure that this stops because I don't know what this feels like and it's unfamiliar. And that's really what the upper limit problem is all about. So savoring, so that's the gratitude practice. That's the wins journal. It's like when noticing when things do go well and allowing ourselves to feel those good feelings.
Mm-hmm.
And then how do we stop self-sabotages again? It's like it's creating an environment that supports us making the right choices, whether that's putting ourselves in a place with no distractions. And he talks about it in the book. It's like, okay, go to somewhere with no Wi-Fi if you have to write, and just write. So you're like forcing functions. You're putting yourself in places that force you to do what needs to get done, because we need that. We just need it. And great writers and other people have done this. And he gives lots of examples of this. It's like I'm going to Walden Pond where there's like nothing. It's like no choice but to write.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm just realizing that taken me this long in my life, that I have far more control than I think I do. You know how you're just kind of willing to say, oh, you know, kids, they need to go here, there, but I actually have more control over my day, my time, how I spend it, who I spend it with. Like that feeling kind of excites me when I think about that. Like I can totally think about honing in, getting even really narrow and getting really specific. And it's almost like, I don't want to say it's a new thought, because I've thought about it, but just the reality that I can actually do that. Yeah. You know, the world's not going to fall apart. You know, the kids are not going to start taking drugs. You know?
Yeah. Hopefully not
going to leave me.
Yeah.
All those, you know, fears or whatever. People are happier, and I almost have to say this out loud just to make it true. Like the people are happier when I'm doing what makes me happy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know that's true, but to really actually realize it, I think for me is another level.
Yeah, totally. We do have so much control. I think that's the most important thing that you said. And really recognizing that and being so honest with ourselves. So when we start to make excuses or like fall back into kind of the victim mindset that, you know, we might fall into, where it's like we blame everything else. We blame circumstances. We blame other people. We blame whatever. It's like, no, actually, I do have control. And then also see how, I mean, again, it's like you just have to go into your environment, and sometimes there's external expectations of being a certain way and cultural norms, and then sometimes when we feel like we want to do something that's outside of that, it's scary or it feels like not right because it's not what is normal.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking in terms of like, you know, kids and like the way like parenting and the carpooling and all that stuff. I mean, yeah, that's awesome. Good. So something I want to do also for the last month is each of you have one more coaching session. And if we can make that kind of, and some of you, I think Becca and Stephanie suggested that we kind of workshop things. So the coaching sessions will be on Zoom so that we can record them. And then we'll basically make it available to all of us so that we can all learn from each other's challenges. So having something very specific to focus on and to work on, maybe a question or something that you're just unclear about or need help with. So, yeah. How are your quarterly goals going?
You know what I would love, like a 30-second to minute synopsis of any of you all. And Andrea, I pick you. No, but anyone who's moved, just because you seem really clear on it, to just say like, this is one quarterly goal. This is how I'm doing it. This is how it's done. Like, I just love a little snippet because I feel like it can be some motivation without myself getting so caught up in catching up and reading and watching the webinars and blah, blah, blah. I'll do that too. But if anyone would be willing to share that in a minute. Synopsis.
So what's are you curious about like what kind of goals people are setting? Or
Yeah.
what do you,
Yep. I want to see what it looks like. I think it'll help me I can be that I'm a pretty quick processor in that way. And sometimes when I can hear someone else's experience, I can just,
Okay. Yeah.
Anyone?
Yeah.
You don't have to go, Andrea, but I felt like
I think everyone should actually. Madeline, go ahead, since you raised
I'll go last.
I'll just offer one quick thing is that I opened up a counseling practice in my house, and because I really like my space. And when I think of workshops, I put it out there to a very specific group of people, and then I just put them on. So that's my little thing.
Awesome. Great.
And it's working.
Nice.
So Madeline, I'm going to get like super myopic here, but what did that quarterly goal look like? What was it written out? Was it like, I will open my practice and host workshops?
Okay, this is kind of the way I flow, but that wasn't even one of my goals. This is how things rise with me. That's why I have a bit of a problem, but
you're so intuitive.
When something rises and it feels right, I'm now like the time of implementation is a lot shorter. So I will just put it out there so I don't have to think about it anymore. So I guess I am being accountable to myself. And I do it. So it wasn't one of my quarterly goals. My quarterly goals are I've got them up on my on my wall. They're still plugging along, and they're not where I thought they would be, put it that way. Yeah. So
I'm curious.
Launching an online course. I have this online course that I've been developing, and it's one of those things I haven't had a lot of integrity with. It's all I need to do is record the videos, and that I'm hoping will happen next week, and then I can launch it. The other thing that
happen. Just make it happen.
Okay. Schedule it, make it happen.
Don't hope. If you just hope, then
I know, right?
Who's got control over that?
I know. Yeah, seriously. A crowdfunding campaign that I actually went and recorded more of a professional video on it yesterday, and did some emails about it today, and I've got the campaign pretty much ready to go. I just have to do the pre-marketing things, and then I'll launch it. So I did move on that. I think those are my goals. Yeah.
Awesome. And I'm curious, because this is the whole goal setting process is something that, the first time you actually do it in the way that we've done it, you might realize that some of the goals you set are not relevant, or they're not important to you, or you don't really want them. It's maybe like a should goal.
Yeah.
And that's fine, because you actually just learn from that process of setting goals that, okay, next time I set goals, I'm actually just going to really ask myself, is this something I really want? Is it really important? Because, if you're not following through on your goals, it's either that it's not relevant, not important to you, not values aligned, or it's so big and scary that maybe you bit off too much more than you could chew, or you're just simply like, you're letting that fear and resistance stop you.
I think in my case, it's the goals that will really kind of move the dial for me, the things that I really want, I have a very high resistance to actually sitting down and doing. And it's actually amazing to see how distracted I can become when I really try to focus in. And I've thought about this a lot. Maybe I don't really want these goals, but it's actually not true. They're the biggies that require a lot of work.
So did you break them down enough so that it is like doable things
Yeah, I have. I've broken them down right into their tasks,
Okay.
and I kind of face that
You
resistance.
just have to do it.
Task, but it's, you know, things are moving along. Like they're not at a standstill. In that book, the one thing, I almost gasped when he said, "You need to schedule 4 hours a day for your one thing." 4 hours a day? I can barely sit there for like half an hour. I can't imagine. 4 hours, I'd probably have it all done. The other goal I had was developing this pain education group for a clinic, but because I do have a deadline and I'm working with a partner on it, that goal, Stephanie, is really kind of moving along quicker than I thought. So, because I'm working with someone else.
Yeah.
And then sometimes it's like we just put too many goals on our plate, and that happens to be all the time. So that's another thing. It's like if you're moving forward with goals, and you're really doing your best as far as calendar integrity, then maybe you realize that you just put too many goals on there. So that's another thing. But it's really like to ask yourself these questions is when you're not moving forward with a goal. Like why aren't you? Anyone else? Who else wants to share? What, Andrea?
Mine are pretty simple. The first one was cultivating equanimity. So for me, I can be, especially if I'm overwhelmed, reactive. And I have my elder son is quite challenging for us. And so I've been trying to make it very practical, as in Donna says, you got to keep yourself in your best mental, what do you call it, peak performance? I keep thinking about that, like peak performance. So I'm trying to at least 5 days a week meditate, do some sort of movement in the morning. And I've started journaling. I didn't think I had time, but I was amazed at how much you can get down in 5 minutes. Mm-hmm. So that's what I've been trying to do. The other one was I wanted to work on my creativity, but at first I bit off more than I could chew because it was the holidays and I didn't have my children in the morning. I had childcare. So I wanted to work, an hour on children's book ideas and an hour on songwriting every week. And that doesn't sound like much, but in the end, I just couldn't do it. Oh, man. Oh, sorry. Okay, Daddy's going to sing. Okay, you go to bed and I'll come sing later, okay?
By the way, I have 2 boys too, so I know exactly where you are, and they do the same thing.
Yeah, me too.
And so I realized, I still have that little Neil who you just saw. I still have him. I'm never alone, never. I always have a child with me at some point, 2 or 1, or I'm at my job. Pretty much, that's what it's like. Unless I go to the coffee shop, which is a great idea. And so my other goal I realized was too much. Then I thought, okay, I'll do an hour a week on songwriting. And then it kept on morphing. So I realized, no, I actually want to learn how to record music. I'm tired of writing on the guitar and the piano. So I went and blew some money on an iPad Pro and got the GarageBand's really intuitive on iPad. So I went and got that. And I put 2 hours, I've kind of written 2 little pretend play around ditties on there. And I did one actually with Neil. He thinks it's a game. He's like, can we play that game? So maybe I need to bring him into the writing a little more. That might be the way to do it. And my third goal was working on my pelvic floor health. Yeah, TMI. It was mostly that I could decide on whether I was going to get this surgery or not, because I was told I could have surgery before Christmas and then kind of got scared. So I guess I accomplished that, and then I decided to do it. So now I've got to work on probably optimism because I'm scared. So there you go. Very literal goals for you. But,
thank you. Thank
Awesome.
you.
Thank you. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, that was super helpful. And if I just, because I've heard you say it a couple times, so I wanted to just, I don't know, for the sake of connection and maybe just offer a share that could be helpful. I also have 2 boys, and I also feel you. I feel that it's hard to sometimes carve out my creative time, and I like to focus on yes, my creative time is kind of given to my kids, or it shows up in other ways, but I'm also a homeschooling mom. So I'm with them just, just intensely and a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things I found, well, two things. One, I actually have found a way to meditate with my kids around, and I could even for fun send you guys a video. It's kind of hysterical, like a 25-minute meditation. And
Wow.
sometimes those are the most profound for me.
Your kid meditates with you for 25 minutes?
So they'll be doing their own thing. Basically, what I've set up, it took a lot of work over a lot of years, but I've set it up so they understand like what space I'm going into when they see me meditating. And sometimes I'm there, like right near their play, like right there, like that would be my little Brooks. And he knows, I mean, it doesn't mean that I'll be moved in and out of it. For the most part, they see that I'm sitting, they see that I'm settling, and their energy starts to settle. And then they do something nearby, and that's my practice. Now, what I was going to say, which is kind of moving towards this other piece, and maybe specific for you, Andrea, that what I've found is that doesn't mean that I don't still, like, I guess I found ways to not only bring my practice into my kids' lives, like, and into our full dynamics. I've also found ways to be creative, like you just said. Like, I love what you just said. Like, oh, maybe I bring him into my songwriting. And that being said, I also need my coffee shop time. And Donna was like, she was the one that suggested that to me back in September. And that's changed my life. So I give myself really hard, like, I don't know, I give myself the boundary to like get out of the house for sometimes 4 hours at a time or more. And I'm so committed to that now. And it's been my creative side has really blossomed, but it's cool because I think it's a yes and thing. And I also try to find ways where I can bring my practice and my creativity into that dynamic of being with my kids,
Mm-hmm.
Here's a real quick example. 5 days ago, my meditation started a little later than it normally does, and it was 6:40. And then my son woke up earlier. He woke up at 6:42, and I wanted to sit for 25 minutes. And so he's my the hyperest human you'll ever meet, son. And he came and he sat in my lap, and I've been practicing, like, I'm just going to sit inside of myself and take care of what's inside, and then everything else around me will settle into place. And so I tried that. I was really committed, and he sat in my lap for like 19 or 20 minutes.
Wow.
And it was unbelievable because he really is hyper. Becca can vouch for this. He's got unbelievable energy. And he sat with me, and I don't know, I think, and I'm not always in that place where I can do that. Just let that be known. Like, I had a nice asana practice right before, so I was probably settled. My pitta was down, but I was able to just go, this is my practice. Like, I don't care what it's going to look like. It might be 2 minutes long. And I sat for 25 minutes. And after 19 minutes of that, he just kind of, I'm estimating 20 minutes. He kind of wandered off and like played and read a book, and then it was done. But anyway, I just want to share that because it's like, I feel like I'm hearing you already are in that place, but yeah, both are really helpful. Do the coffee shop thing. Do it. I'll hold you accountable. Lovingly.
That's awesome that you did that. And I'm trying to, when that happens to me and I'm meditating, I'm trying to almost make my children and the noise around me the meditation.
Yeah.
What do they call that? There's a term. Oh my gosh, I can't think of the name of that kind of meditation, but where you're just hearing.
Like open awareness.
Open awareness, exactly.
Yeah.
And I feel like then, okay, I'm just going to do open awareness right now.
Yeah.
Yes, there's a noise over there. There's a noise there. Okay. That's amazing, though, that you rubbed off on your son. You know how zen you were.
Yeah.
So thank you for sharing. And thank you all for supporting the coffee shop idea.
Yeah,
Totally.
Definitely. We need it. We need time for ourselves as mamas. Who else wants to share goals? And I think everyone should. So, Olive?
Mine aren't as exciting as some. I guess one of the ones I think I overloaded my goal plate. And so one of them was, to create a website for myself. And that's like not even on the horizon, I decided that that's going to wait.
Yeah.
And then one of the ones is to be a better yoga teacher. So one of the goals was to write out a class or a theme or something every week. And So that's been fairly successful. I've been kind of marking that one off, and with the whole exercise of goal setting and that 12-week score sheet, it's been really good because it's kind of evolved as I went to realize, well, this is actually a habit and not a goal, and that kind of thing. So it's kind of been a work in progress. And then I would add things, like I needed more self-care. So I added in to do a self-massage, at least once a week.
Good.
What else? Finishing a book. The audio book has been really well. So I've been like going nuts on audio books, and getting through like one a week kind of thing. So
finishing Big Leap, is that what you mean? That book?
Yeah, the
or
Big
just,
Leap
yeah.
and Sharing Greatly, and then another one too. So so that's been really successful. So that's one of the better goals. And I guess working out the metrics is a little bit harder to try and figure out, okay, well, what is something that's actually measurable each week to add on to. But so the spreadsheet's gone through some revisions, which I've been working on, and so I think it'll make it clear that the goals or the projects will be much more intuitive. And I think that was part of the problem too, is the scoring wasn't right. Like, you either did it or you didn't do it. But projects by nature, you take a long time to do. So
yeah, and we'll go through the whole process again for quarter 2, and then we'll do that, in the last 2 weeks of the month. So you'll get a chance to go through that whole process, and if anyone wants to get coached through that process, or if you need help with that whole thing as part of your coaching session, we can certainly do that. So it's good because, again, it's everything that we're working on in this course. It's like you've just gone through the first iteration of it.
Yeah.
And then it's really like anything, it's the practice of going through it all again, and then through it all again. And then each time getting a little bit better at it and refining it and understanding it more. And yeah,
I think next time I'll be much better at writing down goals and setting up tasks and that kind of thing.
Yeah. Awesome.
And also I've just kind of come so far, and it'll be totally different next time.
Yeah, totally.
Work much better.
Cool. Thanks. And Becca, do you want to share? I'm putting everyone on the spot.
I was looking at the ones that I had put in our sheet, and I was like, oh, those were my goals. Okay. When Madeline, you said they're right here on my wall, I thought, oh, duh. That. So I'm going to do that. But and I have some shorter term goals that are related to these that I'm just going to have for March. But so I had, one of the goals was habits to support myself in feeling sexy and vital. And so things like 8 hours of sleep, regular exercise, dance, yoga, eating well, spending time out and about. And I've been doing some of that, but I would say it's not as intentional as I would like it to be. It just is.
Do you have it on a scorecard?
No, I don't. I haven't. The scorecard.
Not working for you?
I don't know if it's not working for me or if I haven't found a way to make it work. I like
the one that's just a simple.
Like wanting to have things on paper and like touch the paper and not spend any more time.
Well, yeah, no, I'm actually talking about the print out.
Oh, yes.
Of the 30 days.
And I did really well for a week with it. And then this past 5 or 6 days, I fell off. But this is like part of what's showing me. We had Stephanie knows this whole long story, which I won't get into now. But Friday, my husband and my world got kind of spun out of whack a little bit. And it's veering back on track, but having to do with his job. And it's just a lot of unknown right now, whether I'm going to become the full-time worker with bringing in benefits or whether he's going to stay in that role. And so I've just been sort of emotionally exhausted and feeling like, how can I go toward my goals if I don't know what I'm going to be doing in a few months? And so trying to sit with balancing those two things and feeling a strong pull to journal, but not making the time to do it. So I'm inspired by all this coffee shop talk.
Yeah. And that's integrity. Again, it's like that deeper urge and that deeper calling, and that it's that intuition. Like we gotta like take that seriously.
Yeah, for sure. So then my other goal was to KonMari my house, which has not happened, but will happen in the next quarter, because if we're going to move to the other house that we're planning to move to, it has to happen. But so my mini goal for a KonMari related thing is I have to do basically my entire 2017 year of Quicken, because I did not keep it up to date on a regular basis. So I need to do that in the next week or two in order to pay my taxes. So going to get the electronic numbers version done and then turn to the physical house. But I have been even like that. I can feel these kind of subtler little effects of the course, in that like today twice I walked by things that I normally would just walk by, and I picked them up and put them where they go.
Nice.
So just like little tiny things like that.
Good.
And then my third goal was to research and enroll in courses that would take my business to the next level. And I did the researching and I almost enrolled. The application deadline was actually today for one of them, and I decided to wait until the May 1st deadline for the next iteration of the course, because it just feels it's a lot of money, and I feel like I need to know whether I actually am going to have the time to dedicate to taking that course, or if I'm going to have a full-time job, in which case I'll have to wait a couple of more years for that.
Yeah.
So, but yes, having you all around definitely helps keep me in line with myself. So I've missed these calls.
Wow. Yeah. Awesome. And Haley, do you want to share yours?
Yeah, for sure. Somehow my house has managed to be like, all of us have been sick with something for a month, and that's been a struggle. But when I kind of dialed back on my like daily, I guess I realized daily habits were like the really important thing for me to focus on. So working out 5 days a week, flossing my teeth so I had an easy check mark. And then just journaling and doing that stuff regularly. I have looked into going forward with some organization courses. Nice. But just the timeliness and having just sickness all around us, like I think I'm at the end of it. Like my voice is starting to come back now and stuff, but yeah, the week that I was supposed to do the one was the stomach flu week. So, but there will be more opportunities to take more, and it's in I think it's in the next couple of weeks that there was a couple more that I was interested in doing, and they're just one evening for 3 hours or something like that. So it's not too bad, and it's just on the phone. Yeah. So I've looked into them, but I haven't taken action on them yet. Just the circumstances is the only reason.
No, of course.
And I'm really glad that I do have that flexibility. Yeah. That that it's not the end of the world, but I definitely think it would be a catalyst to push me forward again, and to keep me excited and engaged in that, and not just because I do actually love my job, and that's where that trap lies for me. Is I get paid well, I love doing it, and I just won't do it forever.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, go ahead.
I was going to say, and that's probably all the talking I can do without coughing.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah, and that kind of comes back to what I was saying before about the uncommitting to this stuff that, and if it's your job right now, and you might not be able to uncommit to that right now, but it's like the more and more clear we are, it's like we do actually have to make those harder choices where we take some of that stuff apart. We can actually spend the time we want on the things that we really want to make happen. Because yes, there's the problem with the things that we enjoy and things that are good, but will still make it harder.
They hold you back.
Yeah.
For sure.
So it's like just, I mean, there's the right timing and all that too. So maybe it's appropriate for you to be there now as you get really clear and as you start to like, take the courses and do these other things that you can do right now. But then that harder decision comes when you actually have to say, when you make that transition. But I think we have to be smart about that.
Sure.
Like it's like the whole don't quit your day job thing. It's like don't do that
sure.
until things are, you're able to bring in money from that other thing, and so there's not financial strain.
And actually, a cool opportunity came up, and it's for family, so it's not like going to be the most successful, I don't think. But my mother-in-law wants help cleaning some stuff out.
Awesome.
So so, and like we're both totally on the same page about everything, so I think it'll be just a good experience. And I also, it's a good way to gauge for me what the challenges are, what the struggles are, because she's a very clean and organized person, but she does have stuff, so it'll be fun.
Totally. I mean, it's like you can kind of use it as an opportunity to create some of the structure around what you want to provide, and put a little like outline together and learn through that process. It's like your pilot program.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Cool.
Yep.
Awesome. Well, good work.
Thanks.
All right. And Shauna, did you share you did a little bit, but go ahead and share your goals.
Hi. Good. Yeah, my like I feel like I have a lot of goals, kind of like how Olive was talking about. I liked what Olive was saying, like summer habits and summer goals and summer projects. And when I started the course, I had the two programs, or the one program that I had to finish, so I had lots of homework. And I feel like that was my main focus. And then finishing the yurt was the other main focus, so we could have the course in it. And then the other main focus is now me. As soon as I finished school, I went without celebrating, right? Which I realized was a big mistake. So that's
never too late.
Yeah, that's right. And I'm going to definitely find the time. But I went straight into setting up my business, like getting an online booking system, and then like getting direct billing and, doing all these tasks that I had to take care of. So I feel like I have this like funny feeling of how I haven't really played out the course. I've been watching the webinars and I have been doing some of the exercises, but like I haven't really jumped into the do your Dharma. Like I wish I could have gone through it like I did the last couple courses I've taken, like school courses that I, programs, and I just went through systematically and then finished. It'd be really cool to do this, do your Dharma systematically, each thing that you've put out. But anyway.
That's how it was intended.
Yeah, that's how you intended. I would like to the energy was really put into setting up business. Yeah. I feel pretty good. I'm still.
But you're doing it. You're doing your Dharma.
I am. Yeah, I am. And I've been reading all the books, and I love getting together with everyone. Like I love doing this.
Yeah.
It's been great. So yeah, my goal, it would be the other goal was that I was really sick too for, I've been like, really struggling with my hormones, like I've been menstruating for like 3 months straight.
Oh, no.
Like really intense. And then I'm pretty sure I have endometriosis, but we're not sure. So I'm just going to like feel that out, whether I want to go for a laparoscopic surgery and diagnose it. Yeah, I've been like suffering big time with health, and pain. So, I've been researching like crazy about it, and then I've been seed cycling, where I've been doing doing pumpkin seeds and flax seeds, and then like in a couple weeks I'll do sunflower seeds and sesame seeds, and like doing things like that, like really starting to like meditate more. And
sorry, what's the seed cycling for?
Well, it's for omega-3s. It's
okay.
Yeah, so it's certain nutrients that you get in the seeds to help balance hormones.
And you're not supposed to have them all at once. You have to do them that way.
Yeah, that's what it's suggested. Yeah,
I've just never heard of that.
Yeah, I know. And this nutritionist was telling me about it a long time ago. Because I've been struggling with this since I came back from our bike trip in 2012, like even before I was diagnosed with cancer. So it's kind of like feels worse almost than going through a major illness and getting over it, because it's just this like it's this like background story that won't go away. It's like it's weird. No one's diagnosed it. But I watched this movie, and it's called Endo What. Anyway, I've been doing lots of research on my health.
Yeah.
And that's a big goal. That's like number one. I'm not going to live with this, and I realize it's come up for a reason, and I'm going to move through it, and that's my goal.
Good attitude.
Yeah, and if I'm not here, because can't do anything else.
Right.
So, and if I'm in like agony, like 9 out of 10 pain, I can't do it. The rest of my goals.
Yeah.
So I'm plodding along, but I love having this group. Like I love having this to plod along life.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. It's important having people that you can, again, like share your goals with and talk about the challenges with reaching your goals, and people that are also working on their goals and everything that it takes. And it's not easy. And this is the minority of people are doing this. This is not the norm. So awesome. All right. So I want you to send me your monthly reporting and answer the questions like, how are you going to finish? Actually, I'm just looking at the email I sent. I said, how are you going to finish February strong? February's done. So how are you going to finish this quarter strong? How are you going to really make March successful? What do you need to remove from your environment? What do you need to make time for? How are you going to set up a system that allows you to show up in the way that you want, so that you can feel in integrity with yourself, where you are doing what you say is important to you and what you say you want with your goals. So take some time, go to a coffee shop. Anyone else have any closing comments, questions, concerns? Yeah, Olive.
In the beginning, you said a weekly review, and now you're saying monthly review.
No. Weekly review for yourself, but monthly review to send to me.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, send me your and I sent out an email today. The wins of February and how are you going to make March better.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. But yes, everyone should really make that a habit. Again, it's like, for me, it's the coffee shop habit, or it's carve out that time where you really look at your goals and you look at the week before and you have that moment of truth with yourself of, how did I really do? If I didn't do if I didn't do as well as I would have liked to, why? And then how can I make next week better? And again, it's that course correcting that helps us to really get to where we want to go way faster than if we just leave it up to chance. It's like, hopefully that will happen. No, it's like we have to make it happen.
Can I ask something real quickly?
Yeah.
So is this just because it's good for me to do this, but is this what I'm supposed to?
No, as far as the weekly, what you mean, the weekly review?
Like the quarter goal? No, that's not it.
Yeah. So
okay.
But
that's so one thing which I'm fine with, and I feel like I need to practice saying that out loud. like I didn't necessarily like have them real cleanly written out. But then when you, in the beginning of February, had invited that conversation where it's like, okay, well, what did you do last month? And then I like, that's just the way I needed to do it then. But I'm interested in having a little more structure. So that's why I want to ask about that, because I feel pretty good about like putting it down on paper, putting it in the calendar, you know, just like everything that we've been talking about, of time blocking it to get these. I want to try it that way. I'm ready to, you know. So I just want to check, but that's like what you guys all came to your quarterly goals. You might or might not have used that worksheet to help you get there, right? Okay.
Yeah, there's that one.
That's the weekly review and
That's
planning.
the weekly review. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, but that's going to be helpful to see how I'm achieving the mini goals to that bigger one, right?
Right. But first you have to set your goals, your bigger goals.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So if you haven't done that,
you're all here.
Yeah. But they have to be on paper.
No, I know, but that's what I'm saying. And I wasn't there for circumstances, whatever. I wasn't there in January, but now I can be.
Yeah. Oh, so I think Time Trade only gives like 2 weeks out for some reason, but it's not that I'm not available. I think it just only offers the 2 weeks availability at a time. But maybe for you, Stephanie, I would think of if you want to maintain the quarter that fits with the calendar, because now there's only a month left.
Right.
Maybe just think, okay, what would be one thing that I'd like to complete in March?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Do like a mini version of it.
Yep, I'm thinking of having because there's a couple.
Or you just wait, or you wait 2 weeks and then.
Yeah.
Or you just spend some time deciding. I mean, you can start before, obviously, but
I might play with just because I have the support of all of you guys and you, Donna. I might play with just one for March that kind of has already happened organically, but putting it on paper to see the process. And then April 1st is actually a really great transition time for me anyway, and all that's going on for me. So I feel like that's going to be. You know, there'll be 3 or 4 or 5 like bigger ones for, I guess, what is that, April through, oh my gosh, July.
Yeah, I mean, really in 2 weeks, we'll be going through that whole process all over again.
Right. Okay. Thanks.
So we'll have that support for the last month of going like through that next iteration of quarter 2. And
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, guys. So good to see you. Have a great night, and we'll see you in 2 weeks. Bye.
Bye.